Okay, welcome back guys. So in this video we'll look at the specification paper A, the 50-mark question at the end. Right, so here then it says the one-dimensional array called student name contains the names of students in a class. There's also a two-dimensional array called student mark, and this contains the mark for each subject for each student. Right, the position of each student's data in the two arrays is the same. For example, the student in position 10 in student name and student mark are the same. Right, the variable class size contains the number of students in the class, and the variable subject number contains the number of subjects that each student studies. And here it says all students study the same number of subjects. Right, the arrays and variables have already been set up, and I guess they've got some data in them already. Right, and then the grade is just according to this table. For example, greater than or equal to 70 is distinction. Right, the next one merit, the next one pass. And I guess less than 40, right, that's going to be a fail. Okay, what we have to do, we want to calculate the total combined mark for each student for all their subjects. Right, then we want to calculate the average mark for each student for all their subjects. And this should be rounded to the nearest, whole number. Right, then for each student we just want to output their name, their combined total mark, their average mark, and the grade awarded. And I think, like I said, okay, this grade awarded is going to be combined for all subjects. So yeah, it's not kind of individual grade for each subject, right? It's a grade for their kind of total average. That's what that's based on. Right, then we want to calculate, store, and output the number of distinctions, merits, passes, and fails for the whole class. And as always, we can use either pseudocode or program code. We need to add comments, and we don't need to initialize the data in the array. So let me just copy this because I think I forgot. And then we can just get started. Alright, so as always, let's just comment this. Right, as always, if you want, you can get this demo code. So you just go to the exam questions, alright, choose IGCSE, the specification paper A, and then you can get some demo code just like this. Right, so the first thing then we want to do, I'm thinking if we need any kind of variables at the start. I mean, we can declare them here if we want, right? Or I think we can declare them inside the loop. Let's just declare them here at the top. So I think the things we'll want, let's go maybe total mark. Right, we're then going to want... Right, okay, so I guess we also want this, right? The number of distinctions. So let's say, num distinctions. Right, num merits, the number of passes, and also number of fails. Right, do we want anything else? Because the thing is, we can use this for the number of subjects. So to calculate the average, we just add to the total mark, right, then just divide it by the number of subjects. I guess we can also, let's make this an integer. And then we can also probably have another one, let's say average mark, right, then that's going to be real, because obviously if we're dividing it, this could be a decimal number. Okay, so I think, maybe that's all we need. So let's just loop through, and what we want to do, if we look at the data here, right, this is going to be student 1, this is going to be student 2. So we just want to loop through, we want to loop through this array. So I think, let's call this student. And we'll start at student number 1, okay, and then we'll just go, what's that called? Okay, class size. Right, so here we can then just go to class size, because that's how many students are in the class. And what we can do, we want to set all of these to 0. So like total mark, that can be 0. In fact, I think the number of distinctions we need to do here, right, and I mean the reason we need to set this before the loop is because, otherwise, let's say the first student gets a distinction, right? But then when it comes to the second student, if we were doing this in here, then of course that's going to reassign that back to 0. That's why it has to go, before the loop, basically. Let's just go fails. I think, what do they say? Is it merits? And then passes. Right, okay, so I think that's fine, and the average we don't really need to change because we just calculate that at the end. We're not kind of incrementing it, or we're not using it in any kind of intermediate calculations. Right, so I think that's okay. Then probably here, let's just go subject. And right, this will start at 1, and then we just go to the, is it subject num? Yeah, that's going to be the number of subjects. And then, well, here we just want to add to the total mark. So the total mark, well, it's going to be the total mark, and then plus, and this will be, okay, right, so this is called student mark. Right, and then here, well, the index is going to be student, and the column is going to be subject. Alright, so yeah, basically just, these 2 for variables or for counters that we created. Right, and then do we need to do anything else? So we just get the total. Yeah, so I think that's fine. Right, then if we just go next subject. Okay, and then after we've done this, I guess now we can get the total. Now we can output the average. So right, it says first then we just want to output the name. So yeah, I guess that's student name. And then that is going to be, well, yeah, index student. Yeah, I think maybe we can just have some, I don't know. Alright, let's say something like this. So maybe like students, so this will be their name, and we can just say details or something. Alright, just to give it some kind of heading so we can, separate out the different students. Right, then the next one is going to be the total. So we can just go total. Maybe total mark. Right, and then, well, that's just going to be total mark. And then, if we want, we could assign this to the average. So let's go average mark. And we could do it here, right? Or if we want, we could do it before these outputs, just so we keep the output statements together. Right, and then here, this is then going to be total mark. And we're going to divide that by, subject num, which is the number of subjects. And then, here it says we also want to store this to 1 decimal place. Okay, so I guess here then we can use the round function. And then, well, the second parameter here is just going to be the number of decimal places, alright, which is 1. So here, let's go average mark. Okay, and then, yeah, that's going to be average mark. Right, now, do we need to do anything else? Yeah, so I think we don't actually need to output whether they got, distinction, merit, pass, right, fail. We just actually have to kind of, we just have to kind of count that for all of them. Right, we don't need to output it for the individual student. So, here we could have like an if statement. So we could say, for example, if average mark is it greater than or equal to 70? In fact, I don't have this. So right, let me copy this. Right, so yeah, we could have an if statement, if average mark is greater than or equal to 70, right, then we just increment the number of distinctions, then we have an else, right, then we have another if. So we could do that, okay, or we could do a case statement. So yeah, probably here it's going to be easier, I think, just to do a case. So let's go case of, right, this will then be average mark, and then, well, let's just go end case. And then what we're going to want in here, so the thing is, like, we could say, for example, 70 to 100, like, if we assume that, 100 is going to be the, kind of like maximum mark. Okay. So let's assume it's only, out of 100, right? Then this should be fine. And then what we're going to say the number of distinctions, and that's just going to increment. Right, and then the next one, right, so here we want to go 55 to 69. Okay, in fact, actually, this is not going to work that well, because, for example, if they have something like, let's say 69.999, well, of course, that's going to be in neither, right? So I guess we could do something like this, where we could say something like, 55 to 69.99999. But of course, this is not really very good, to be honest. Yeah, so I think actually I'm just going to use an if statement instead. All right, that's going to be better in this case. So here we're just going to go if average mark is greater than or equal to 70. Right, then we're just going to go number of distinctions and increment this. Right, and I mean here we have to be careful with the nesting. Okay, so well we have the if, else, end if, and then inside this, then we're going to have if average mark is greater than or equal to 55. And right, that's going to be the number of merits, and yeah, just increment this. Right, yeah, then again we need the else. Right, let's have the end if. And then here we're going to have the other if. So this will be if average mark, was it greater than or equal to 40? Yeah, okay. Right, so greater than or equal to 40. Right, and then we'll also have the else here. And then this one, this will be the number of passes. Right, and then here, this is just going to be the number of fails. Right, so I think that should be fine. Now, I do see some people, they do something like this. They check, for example, if average mark is, less than 70, and average mark is greater than or equal to 55. Now, we actually don't need this one. And the reason we don't need this is because, if average mark is bigger than, greater than or equal to 70, it's going to go here, right? But else, the else means if it's, less than 70. So of course, we don't need this if less than 70 because we know it's going to be less than 70. Purely by the fact it's gone into this else statement. All right, so yeah, that's why in this case we can just do it. Just having the greater than parts, and we never actually need the we don't need the kind of whole range. The less than parts. So I think that's okay, and then I guess then we just need to output that, and then I think that's everything. So let's say here, right, we just want to close that for loop. So let's just go next student. And then here, let's just go, I don't know, maybe, let's say something like class, I don't know, class statistics, or class overview. Right, and then here we'll say distinctions. Right, distinctions. And this will just be number of distinctions. And right, I'm just going to copy this, and right, this will be num merits. Right, that's going to be number of passes, and then right, that's going to be number of fails. Right, fails. Okay, so let's just see if this works. Okay, so it says John, he got 179, and if we look at the data, that seems it's probably correct. 96 plus 9, that's 105. That's going to be 106. And okay, and then that's going to be 179. And then I guess, that divided by 4 is probably going to be this. Okay, so I think, this seems to be working. And then if we look distinctions 1, so who got a distinction? I guess that's, Amelia, right, she got a 78. Merits is going to be 3, so that's going to be, I think this one, right, so Emily, I think 55, is that also merit? Right, so it's going to be Emily, it's going to be Layla, and it's also going to be Sung, I guess, this guy. And I guess passes, fails, right, this is probably working. Right, guys, so I think, this one seems to be working, and I think that's everything we need to do. Right, so what I'm going to do, as always, I'll just add some comments. Let's go here, we'll just go declaring initial variables. Maybe initial / count variables, because they're kind of just counting. We can just say assigning, again, it's pretty obvious what it's doing, but let's say assigning 0 to count variables. Right, this one then, this is looping through all students. Right, let's say setting current students total to 0. Right here, let's say loop through all subjects and add each grade to total, or maybe to students total. Right, I mean here, let's say, yeah, calculate average, right, and output student details. Or yeah, I think, yeah, student details is fine. Right here, let's say maybe determine grade. Yeah, because I think that's what it is. And then, well, here we're just going to say output class details. Right, so again, guys, I think for this video, that's everything. And as always, any questions, well, ask on YouTube, ask in the Discord group. Yeah, maybe even send me an email, you know, via the website. Yeah, I mean, I'll try and answer, or someone else can also try to answer. So, well, thanks, and hope to see you again in the next video.